Aloha, beautiful people. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to this episode. I am so excited and grateful that you're here, and I'm really excited to channel this transmission and this episode. I am recording this on a Tuesday, which I usually don't do. However, I was given very specific guidance to record this after I had my Akashic record reading with Allie Wilkins, who, if you are new to the podcast, she was a guest on the podcast. We talked about full spectrum feminine. This was back in fall of 2024. So if you want to go check that out. However, I'm just coming off having probably one of the most profound readings I've ever had in my life. I didn't realize how much my soul needed that. And it just was such a confirmation of so much. It was such a confirmation of like why I got guided in so many different ways this year. And I'm just feeling my new spiritual gifts are coming online for me. And not that they're new, but like I'm remembering them. And I'm just really excited to share from this energy in this space today. So, um, this episode is my key lessons of 2024 and predictions for 2025. So, I recently shared my process for my annual review. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go check it out. That one is very, very strategic, very, very granular, very, very like, okay, these are the steps. This is how you can do an annual review and then never need to do a New Year's resolution again because you're going to be moving with the raw material of your life. So, you don't need to go listen to that before you listen to this one. However, I highly, highly recommend you listen to it and do the practice if you want to change your life and quantum leap and do all the magical things. So, this episode is really, I love doing these episodes and I love hearing other people do like transmissions like this because it's like, okay, what lessons have people learned in the past year and like how are they moving them forward? And we can all mine gold from one another. And when I was doing my annual review, and then I had this reading, and we had the full moon in Gemini, which was conjunct Jupiter, and it was just so powerful. The final release, energetic release, and final moon, full moon of 2024. It just feels like now I get to lean back into these lessons and share, and I'm just so excited to bring it through for you. So, before we begin, let us call upon the altar. Our altar is quite spectacular today, if I do say so myself. I feel so reborn. I feel so grateful for life and so grateful for specifically the past 5 months that I have been in Michigan in a new way. Um, and there's just so much fresh energy on the altar. The altar is how we say thank you in advance to spirit because this is a transmission. This is an activation. This is a cellular change portal for you to access your dreams, your potential, your soul, your connection to source. And when we all do that, and when we all do it together, we can't help but make a better world. So on the altar, we're saying thank you in advance to spirit. We're setting the stage for miracles and magic. I have a brand new crystal. It is a moonstone sphere. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see it. Um, I was guided to, so this sphere actually came to me in a dream months ago, months and months and months ago, and I knew it was in Hawaii. And it just said, there's a black moon crystal for you in Hawaii. And I'm like, okay, great. And then it kept coming to me in my dreams. And I was like, cool story. I'm not in Hawaii right now. And I even reached out to one of my good friends who made one of my rings that I wear, and I said, "Hey man, like do you have do you have this crystal?" And she's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." I ended up one of my friends on Oahu had this crystal and I saw it in her she was promoting it and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's my crystal." So I have this bringing in just galactic moon codes, bringing in so much aloha, bringing in so much magic of the moon and how we get to anchor star frequencies on this planet. I have a beautiful bouquet of purple peonies flowers. And this represents the crown chakra. This represents our connection to other realms. It represents the third eye chakra as well, to your intuition, to your sight. And the healing power of flowers, literally flower power, is alive and well here in unconditional love. I have all of my mermaid statues and figurines, and they are bringing through the healing frequency of the Adriatic Sea. The Adriatic Sea is right there by Croatia and Greece and Italy in the Mediterranean, and it has a very, very amazing teal water. And so that energy is present here, the salt water and the mermaid frequency that lives within all of us. I have white roses for purification on the altar. I have an unscented white candle burning, just calling in energetic hygiene, calling in Archangel Michael, all healed ancestors and guides. And finally, we have the element of air, which brings our altar together, where we fuse our mind, body, spirit, and life force energy between me and you and every single soul that receives this transmission to activate healing, growth, power, frequency, energy together. So, no matter what you're doing as you listen to this episode, empty out completely. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. Make an audible sigh. Oh, just let it go. The whole weight of the world does not rest on your shoulders. Thank God. Inhale through the nose. Feel your ears open up. Feel your third eye open up. Keep holding. Allow your eyes to flutter shut if you feel called. And just let there be a clearing here in what you get to hear. Exhale out the mouth. One final inhale through the nose. Holding at the top, feel the divine white light cover your whole body. Feel a doorway open in your heart center. The intelligence of the heart, the eyes of the heart, the feet, the hands of the heart opening. Keep holding. Smile. Exhale out the mouth. And as we open this podcast, open your eyes. If you had them shut, welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's dive in, shall we? The portal is open and the altar is set. We are connected. Now it's time for my key lessons of 2024 and the predictions for 2025. My intention with this podcast is to share my knowledge, share my wealth with you. And so as I'm sharing, I want you to really lean into what this means for you in your life, what this means for you in your life as you are reviewing and reflecting and celebrating on your 2024 and what you're going to move forward in 2025. So for so many people, including myself, 2024 brought people to their knees. Like if you would have told the me of January 2024, like, hey, all of this stuff is going to happen. I I think I knew like, wow, this year is going to be so transformative, right? I'm being called to a whole nother like octave of living, basically. And I knew there was going to be a lot of challenges. And I knew, like, okay, day by day, step by step, last January, I'm sitting on Maui. I had just moved into like my dream home there in my dream location with my dream view. And like the neighbors I was surrounded by, it was just like, I honestly, like, I cried so much because I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. I was just like, I couldn't have even planned this, like how epic this is. It was like things that I didn't even know I was manifesting, things like an outdoor home gym. Like it was like, oh, this is like automatically like just like here. What? Um, and then Scott, the guy I rented from who I had on this podcast talking about the Aina and the land and stewarding the land. Um, just being able to live and be around him day to day and learn from him. And just like I was brought to my knees in gratitude for how like spirit's plan was way bigger for me than I could even dream up for myself. Okay. And if you would have told me of then, like, hey, you're actually gonna unexpectedly leave Maui and you're going to go through the hardest 5 months of your life ever to date. And you're going to be confronted with like your deep, dark corners of your soul that you thought were healed a long time ago. If you would have told me all of this stuff, like I think I would have like passed out. So sometimes we're not meant to know things, right? Sometimes, like, the reason we don't know things a lot of the time is because we're not supposed to know, because we're just supposed to live it and move through it. And that's how we gain the wisdom. But what I've noticed is that 2024 was such a deep portal of transformation for so many people and very edgy, uncomfortable transformation. Like it brought a lot of people to their knees. It brought a lot of people to this state of like, okay, like demolishing certain parts of life and so they can be reiterated and reborn and all these things. And it had a lot to do with Pluto dipping back into Capricorn one last time and then moving into Aquarius. At the beginning of 2024, we had the first Pluto in Aquarius. And we're like, oh shit, this is this frequency. And then it's like, JK, I'm like, we're going back into Capricorn. We're gonna go back into the skeletons of the closet from 2008 one more time. Um, and now we're like officially in, okay, Pluto and Aquarius for the next 20 years. It was a year of deep reckoning. It was a year of deep magic. Like I'm not gonna say there wasn't insane magic and bliss and joy for me and people everywhere in 2024. And at the very same time, it was like, okay, the amount of magic and light that we experience is being definitely met with the amount of shadow work, deep healing, grief, heartbreak, unexpected pain that people were moving through, including myself. So if you're ending 2024 and you're like, honestly, I don't know what the fuck just happened, like things are still in disarray, like for me, I just want to say you're not alone. That's a collective pattern. And I have really been brought down to the studs of life. I have really been brought down to the studs of life, and it really has exposed a lot of lessons and a lot of magic and a lot of power. Like, I've always known I'm a powerful person, and I have a tenacity within me because of the things I've gone through in this lifetime and previous lifetimes. Um, but specifically this lifetime, I've gone through a lot and I've gone through a lot on my own, right? And I've learned so much this year and I'm so grateful for it. It's like you get to a certain point And you start to realize things about the path. And you're like, okay, in my darkest hours, I know there's some kind of divine purpose for this. I know that it doesn't make sense to me right now, but based on the history of my life, every time I've had a moment like this, which, full disclosure, I've never had one this long and this extreme in this lifetime yet. Um, I kept telling myself, like, I don't know Spirit's plan, but I trust myself and I trust Spirit. And if this is what the down is, I wonder what the up is on the other side of this, right? So, all of that to say, I'm feeling nostalgic and I'm feeling really powerful, and I'm really, really grateful that I'm bringing this through. So, that was a very long introduction. Here are my lessons. So I have 8 lessons from 2024, and then I have 5 predictions for 2025. So let's dive in. Lesson number 1 from 2024 is very, very simple. It's one word. It's discernment. Discernment. So something that I learned, and a lot of this is going to be framed through the lens of what I learned on Maui, because like literally, I've said this so many times, but it's like if you want to grow spiritually, sell everything you own, go move across the world by yourself to an island that you can't escape from. I mean, you can, but like, and it just there's that's the most important thing I've ever done for my spiritual growth so far. But, spoiler alert, there's insane amounts coming forward in 2025, but discernment. So I learned so much discernment um because something that happened, and discernment is just like, okay, you're using your best judgment, right? Like it's boundaries. It's like, okay, when you meet people, like, is this right or is this wrong? Is this correct for me or is this not? I definitely, and I'm going to be getting vulnerable on this podcast. And, outside my private clients, like, y'all know my soul, okay? There's just something so intimate about speaking into a microphone, or even like for those of you on YouTube, like you're seeing the video, this space is so vulnerable, and I don't take it lightly. That like it's just a very sacred space. So I'm going to get vulnerable, and it's important because we're all human. And just because I'm in a leadership role, which, yeah, you're in leadership roles in all parts of your life, like the reason I'm a leader is because I lead myself. And the reason I'm a powerful mentor is because I go through so much that I'm able to teach and share and guide on it from my own experience. So I let my guard down on Maui. Totally. I really, when you live in a major city, especially in America, and you are just like, for the first 33, 32 years of my life, I lived basically in the same part of the world. I lived in the Midwest. Okay. I grew up in Michigan. I did my undergrad in Michigan. I did my master's in Indiana. Then I lived in Chicago for almost a decade. And then, wild card, I was just like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm going to do the direct opposite. And it was this freedom and this liberation and this excitement. And just when I got on Maui, I was like so excited. I was so excited, and I was like, everybody there is like super spiritual, and I was like, oh my God, I just was so excited. And I let my guard down. And nothing like, there's a lot of medicine that is still being born behind the scenes. I'm not going to be sharing all the nitty-gritty of things until they're ready to be shared. However, and nothing like horrific happened. However, I really, really let my guard down, and I learned more discernment, because just because people say they're spiritual and they do meditations and they go to yoga, and even there's like breath work and like, oh, we're doing these divine feminine things. It was like the amount of charlatans that I experienced, or like people say thing and say one thing and did another. It just like my discernment got very, 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 first of all, it was like extremely confronting and abrasive when I realized like, oh, like you have all a bunch of people in your field that are like not good for you. Um, and with like, and when I'm sharing things, Maui is one of the great loves of my life. I'm just sharing the lessons I learned there, in this time living there. So I learned discernment of like a deeper fine tuning of discernment, and it's based in energy and it's based in my body. So that was a deeper lesson that I learned. And a lot of these lessons, it's like, yeah, they're like they just are deepened. The more you live, it's like you're gonna repeat a lot of the same lessons because it's a practice. Spirituality is a practice, and you're gonna get them in a different way. It's gonna be deeper, right? So I learned a deeper level of discernment, especially with the spiritual space, because to be honest with you, I have never been in my daily life around people on the spiritual path. It's so baked into the culture there. Um, and then I realized very quickly, like, wow, a lot of this is fake actually, which was painful. And I just noticed like, yeah, I let my guard down. I let like a lot of people in that did not have any business being in my inner circle and my inner just like vulnerability and all of that. So that's what I learned about discernment. Lesson number 2 was to ask for help sooner. And I'm not like, I don't have an aversion to asking for help, right? Like I always have coaches, healers, mentors. This was more like just an overarching thing of something that I will do because I honor the struggle so much. Because like the path of the highest self is always the harder path. Like if you come to a fork in the road and it's like, okay, this would be the easier way. The higher self, it's usually the hard way. And hard in the short term, right? But like in the long term, obviously, you're in alignment with your soul. I'm so comfortable with challenge and I honor the challenge that I don't ask for help right away, honestly, because I can handle a lot on my own. And I learned being somewhere new and being somewhere new for the first time ever that was like culturally new. Um and like literally across the world, that asking for help, I can do more of that. I can do more of that in daily life. And doing it sooner, because it's not like I don't know how to ask for help. It is ask for help sooner and ask for help even when I know that I'm good. And this is something that I've learned, especially in the past year, is that because I'm so good, and this is not an ego thing, because I can transverse so much, um, like really well with people don't know if I'm having a hard time. And so it's up to me to ask for help. And honestly, people don't check in on me because I'm always the one that's good. I'm always the one that's holding it down for others. And so my biggest lesson is like these kind of go together because it's like discernment about who gets to be in my life And, with friends, with lovers, in business, clients, just anything. And then asking for help sooner, like asking for help in all different kinds of ways. Like, hey, can you give me a recommendation for this? Or I'm I'm running into like some walls here. Like, do you have any suggestions or ideas? Like, I could have done that sooner, and I think that would have made things smoother for me um in the past year. So that is number two. And as I'm sharing all of these, think about in your life, like how these apply to your life and how they can impact your life for the better. So, number three, you will be rejected by spaces too small for you. And I've shared this a bit on the podcast, but I really experienced it to a whole new frequency in 2024 because I am a very big energy. I'm a very big energy. I'm a very powerful energy. I'm very sovereign. I am very I'm big. I'm a big person. I have big dreams and I don't just dream it. I'm doing it. I'm taking the action. I'm doing the thing, right? The spaces that can't hold that will reject you, okay? And this is something that I met again and again and again and again and again. Not in the online space, but in daily life on Maui. And it's not like I didn't have amazing experiences there and all of that. However, it was like generally, I felt as if I was smacking my head up against this like wall of groupthink or like this group consciousness or these cultural norms, or I'm still figuring out exactly what it was. However, I experienced a lot of rejection. And what I realized is like, oh, like it's just not a match. And as I'm saying this, it's like, duh, Adrian, like you know this, you've known this for a while. This is the thing about lessons, though. It's like it hits at a different octave when you're experiencing it in real time and you're experiencing it in a new way. So basically, what it feels like is 2024, like all of the spiritual lessons and mastery that I have created in my life and in my shamanism and in my own path were called to the test. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is so true. Like you will be rejected by spaces too small for you. And that's okay. It's just not a match. One of my teachers described it as like, yeah, you're the main character, but they're not looking for main character. They're looking for the supporting actress. So of course they're gonna reject you because you're the main character. You would ruin everything. And I was like, oh. So that's something that I really experienced. And I was like, wow, okay. So if you're experiencing rejection in your life, in whatever way, first of all, rejection is just part of the process, okay? What I learned from music, I did 50 auditions before I ever advanced, let alone one. That means I went to 50 different locations and played for 50 different panels of judges before anybody gave me a shot to play twice. These are 30-second to 3-minute chunks of time where you get a shot in front of these judges. Rejection is part of it. All right. Especially when you're on the edge, especially when you're cutting edge, when you're a visionary, like people won't get it. You're ahead of your time. If you're here, you're ahead of your time. Congratulations. Me too. Um, One question you can ask yourself is, is that space too small for you? Or are you playing too small? Because your soul will reject a goal that's too small for you as well. Like if you choose to do something like really tiny that actually doesn't make your soul excited or actually doesn't light up your potential, a lot of times that stuff will just stop working because it's not true. It's not energetically true. And this is the kind of conversations we get to have when you get to this phase, I guess, and everybody encounters this phase in different ways, but and I just rhymed, I didn't mean to. You will be rejected by spaces too small for you. So instead of taking that, like, because I definitely took it like, oh, like, what am I doing wrong? And I went through this whole thing of, am I not like understanding the market? Am I not, am I just this like totally unaware white girl that came from the mainland that just doesn't understand the culture? Like I went through all of this, and there, I think there is some of that. I think, it's impossible to have white skin and be from America and not have some kind of colonizer like programming within you. However, like I'm a very loving, sweet, gentle, joyful, and loving light presence. Like that's who I am. And I was just like, oh, my energy's just too big for this right now. And this applied to relationships, opportunities, all of these things. But that was one of the biggest lessons, is that you will be rejected by spaces too small for you. So where are you asserting yourself in places that are just too small for you? That's the question. Okay, lesson number 4, self-love and celebration. So, especially in the past 5 months, my time on the mainland where I've been around family, has been the most challenging portal of my life so far. And I love my family. I'm so grateful for my family. And, Ram Dass says, you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family. I'm like, bitch, spend 5 months. Um, I've been in situations where like I just get to deepen into my self-love and self-celebration even more. Like when everything around you, when the circumstances around you, it's like that when we come down to unconditional love, what does unconditional mean? It means without condition. It means no matter what the circumstance, love, right? And so I deepened into my self-love because I really went through a lot of beating myself up about why I left Maui, and why, because when I went there, it's like I had the intention of living there. This is my new home. I'm gonna buy a house here. I'm gonna have kids here. And I think that still may happen. Just in the past 48 hours, I've received so much information about where I'm meant to go in 2025. And basically, Maui was the first phase in a whole new portal and way of life for me, where I'm called to different lands around the world. And however, leaving Maui unexpectedly, like the time between me really realizing, hey, you're gonna leave, and me actually leaving was like 10 days. And when I got to the mainland, it was such an extreme shift that I just, was really struggling mentally with like, why, why? I must have done something wrong because this just feels wrong. Everything feels wrong. I'm not supposed to be in Michigan. I'm not supposed to be doing this, and this. I had a whole field day with my ego and my thoughts, and I was just like, I just am so fucking grateful for breath work and meditation and my support system and just all of this work. But I really deepened into my self-love like so much deeper. Like my ability to just love me and celebrate me and have that deep compassion for me, no matter what. Because I remember even writing in my journal, and I was like, okay, so worst case scenario, I fucked up my whole life. Because this is where I was, honestly. I told you I was going to be vulnerable. I was like, worst case scenario, I fucked up my whole life. Do I still love me? Do I still believe in me? Do I still celebrate me? And it was this just like, by the way, I don't think you can ever fuck up your life. Even if you made a quote unquote wrong decision, there's very few things that you can't like reverse. And there's always lessons there, right? Which is what we're mining the lessons right now in this episode, which is so cool. I was like, how can I celebrate me? I'm so brave. I'm so brave. I trust myself. I trust spirit. I took a chance. I fully lived. Like if I die tomorrow, I know that I did it. It's not like I'm gonna die and be like, "Oh yeah, I wanted to move to Maui and I just never did." No, I actually did it. Um and then just like my self-love, even when I would catch myself in thought patterns that were negative towards me, which I have not had those kinds of thoughts or anything like that in literally like over 10 years. I've also never lived, I haven't had, lived with family since I was 18, and I haven't lived with any kind of roommate or anyone since the guy I almost married, which was in 2018. So I really was just, it's like spiritual Olympics. It was like spiritual, um, It's like it was almost like if life's a video game, Spirit's like, "Oh, you just leveled up. Here's the next level. You ready?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck. Hold on to your horses." And I'm in such a lighter energy about it now, but I'm like I cried myself to sleep a lot, like but it was okay. Looking at my life, and this is very Aquarian, looking at my life and being like, "Okay, these are the facts, right? You left Maui. You are here for the next 6 months. You don't really know, you don't fully understand why. You've made all the correct decisions that you knew were the best decisions for you at every single point. Now, what are you going to do? How do you love yourself in this moment?" And it's like, it really just deepened my self-love for me and my compassion for me and my understanding for me and my celebration for me. And that's what I want for everyone. It's this intimacy. And it really reminded me of the Viktor Frankl quote, which I thought about a lot during COVID. Um, was like the last of a human's freedoms you can never take is someone's ability to choose their own attitude. And he talked about that when he was in a concentration camp. And, obviously I'm not in a concentration camp. However, it was really, really, really challenging for me spiritually, emotionally, physically. I was having physical symptoms like my body broke out in hives, from the cold weather, from just not the literally the energy and the air and literally everything is different on Hawaii. It's different dimension. And so my body was having a reaction to coming back into this denser energy. And it just was like, oh my gosh, like I love you so much. I celebrate you. Like you are doing the thing. And it was this just like deep intimacy and love with myself that it was just a lesson of deepening in that, of that unconditionality and celebration. Um, and, celebrating myself for things that all the people around me are saying are flaws, or all the people around me are saying is crazy, right? And turning around and going within and just saying, like, I love you and I celebrate you. And like, you're so fucking amazing. Like that. Okay, lesson number 5, unconditional power and self-trust over everything. So something that I learned really, really deeply this year, and it actually came through the teacher of human design, is that if it's not empowering you and it makes you question your self-trust, something's off. Something's off. Something's off. So, something that I noticed, I went really deep down into the human design rabbit hole. And I still like human design. I still value human design. It has a lot for us in terms of how our bodies are set up to thrive and what we're meant to do in this lifetime. However, what I noticed is that I was getting into a disempowering relationship with it. It was like, okay, you're a projector. That means this. That means this. That means this. That would be like if I looked at my sun sign and I'm like, okay, you're a Leo. That means you can do A, B, C, and D, and you can't do A, B, C, and D. Like, I had experienced a lot of extreme perspectives in the human design space, and it ended up being really disempowering for me. And I was like teetering on giving my power away to it. Potentially giving my power away to it sometimes. And it was like, wow, this is not you. What's going on? And I think it really spoke to how much my root chakra had been going through, like, okay, all of this like change and activations and initiations and all of that. But I really, and this has really crystallized, especially in the past 3 months as I've taken time away from studying any human design, is that any single thing you encounter in this life, if it doesn't empower you, if it doesn't send you back to yourself, if it makes you question your own deep self-trust, which is in the body, it's beyond the mind. It's beyond any human design chart. It's beyond any astrology chart. It's beyond any transit. It's beyond any course. It literally lives in the in your body. If something's making you question that, it's not right. Something's off. And it might not be that whole system, but it might be that teacher or that way it was said. And so I really, the one lesson is like unconditional power and self-trust over everything. If something's making me question that and something's making me feel like I'm not in my power, it's a hard fuck no. So that was a huge lesson for me. And I think I learned that because there's going to be so much information with the age of information. And yes, it's important and it can help us. However, it will never, ever, 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 ever replace the fact that you are powerful beyond measure, that you are the creator of your reality, that you are the authority on you. That was the lesson. That's the crystallized lesson. You are the authority on you. And if something is taking you away from your power and your sovereignty and your autonomy and your command of your life, go in the opposite direction. Now, what did I do? I went down that rabbit hole because I got so curious and I was like obsessed with it. And I'm like, oh, how is this going to help me live my potential? And it definitely has. Like, I've learned a lot. And I also learned, once again, with this discernment, there's shit out there that's not good. There's shit out there that's not right. Okay. And I'm not like shitting on human design as a whole. I've actually have received so much from that. And it swung too far in one direction for me. So, anything, you are the authority on you. And the only way you're going to access that correct authority and know that it's your inner authority and not some fear or external is if you reset your nervous system through breath work. Okay, lesson number 6. I'm trying not to make this a 3-hour podcast. Lesson number 6 is you must have the courage to shatter your own heart. So basically what I did when I left Maui was I broke my heart into a million pieces. And it really, really reminds me of what I did in 2018 when I left my ex and I walked away from a job, a full-time job playing in an orchestra. They were going to pay all my student loans. It was a job for life. It was like everybody's dream in classical music. I had it at 27. And both of those things I walked away from and I shattered my own heart. Why? Because of my intuition, because of my soul, because I was like, something's not right. And I can't see it. And I have no guarantee for what's about to happen. And at the very same time, I'm willing to shatter my own heart because this just isn't it right now in this specific way. It's like only on intuition. And so what I did, I will never ever forget this. I was looking over a cliff on Maui and I was like, am I staying or am I going? Am I staying or am I going? And it was one of those moments where you're like, okay, the only way you can make the wrong decision is if you ask a bunch of people what you can do, which is basically every decision in life, I would say. You always have the answer. There's going to be people that will help guide you back to yourself. I was looking over this cliff and I just heard a voice, I think it was Maui, say, it's time. And I knew it was time to leave. And at the very same moment, I was like, why? Why though? I love it here. I love the ocean. It was like so extreme. And it was the same feeling of like when I left my ex. I remember like literally leaving, packing up my stuff, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I mean, I still love him. I love him so deeply. Haven't spoken to him in years. Hashtag boundaries. I remember I was like, I don't know why, but I must break my own heart right now. I would rather shatter my own heart than break my soul, than break my intuition, than go against my inner knowing. And so that's what I did. And it takes so much courage and it takes so much trust. And I literally was like crying on the plane leaving Maui. I'm like, why am I leaving Maui? And it's like I had so much excitement and I'm like, because I knew like, okay, you're meant to travel, you're meant to do A, B, C, D, E. Like your heart's breaking right now because you thought you were putting roots down here. You're going somewhere else. What's going on? We're going to Michigan. I'm so disoriented. And it really is like you got to have the courage to shatter your own heart and not have the answers of why. And the only answer you need is my intuition said. And you won't know why. And you probably won't know why for a while. For me, I literally just got a slight glimmer of why in the past 4 weeks. So it was literally like 5 months of me just being like, wait, what just happened? I was living in my oasis, my dream oasis, and now I'm literally like, what? And of course, you know me. I'm magical everywhere I go. And I love the snow and just there's so much goodness here. And at the very same time, like I know like I outgrew this land. I outgrew like this isn't where I'm meant to be long term. And so I broke my own heart. And there's going to be things in your life when you're called to different levels of your journey, you must have the courage to shatter your own heart in order to obey your intuition, your soul, and the force of life itself. Okay, lesson number 7, the power of the breath. I learned this year the power of breath work more than ever because I had more nervous system activations than I've ever had in my whole life. I was moving around all the time. There was moments when I had a car, when I didn't have a car, transitioning from Maui to the mainland. It was like my root chakra was like, ah. And then being around family, my nervous system was like, ah. And it still is sometimes. And what did I do? Even when I didn't feel like it, I laid down and I breathed. And what the breath has done is it illuminates the path in any darkness. Darkness just means you can't see. And so you activate your potential, you activate all your knowings. It's very extremely extremely powerful, and it's your pathway to the present moment and your highest self. Like I learned that again and again and again and again and again, the power of the breath, and just showing up again and again and again. I remember like when I was really in the thick of it, I would say late summer, early fall, I was like, the last thing I want to do right now is do breath work. And I just would look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, just keep showing up. You know this works. I've never, you know, used it during such a extreme time because when I and I keep referencing this because it's the only time in my life where I felt like anything sort of similar was that part of my life where I literally like I moved out of me and my ex's condo we had together. I literally I was paying two rents literally on a freelance musician, like I almost said salary, but there's no salary with that. It's like $30 an hour or less. And I was like training for this audition. I literally was like a down to the studs in my life. And I didn't have breath work then. I hadn't explored breath work then. I hadn't even done yoga teacher training at that point. Like I was really just starting to wake up. And so it was like I think I accelerated a lot of things that because I had tools. I had way more potent tools. So I was resetting my nervous system all the time because I was noticing myself like a lot of fear coming up because I really, really trusted when I moved to Maui, like, oh yeah, like you studied the astrology, you did this, like leap and the net will appear. And it did. And my life exploded in amazing quantum magic when I was there, like I could never believe. And I've never been through so much initiation and pain and challenge and hardship in my life. Um, And so the fear that was coming up in my body was like not trusting life anymore, which is like weird to say, but I was like, why? Why is this happening? Why am I why? And just like questioning and hesitating and like so the power of the breath for me to move through all that bullshit because what is all of that? It's lies. And if I wasn't moving through that with my breath, that would have been stored in my nervous system. And that's the kind of thing that happens with people in their life, and they never ever recover from it, and it starts to control their life for the rest of their life. They start living from that fear. They're like, this one thing happened one time. So I can never trust life again. I can never go for a dream again. I can never do this. I can never do that. And this just helped me bust through all those lies, bust through all that bullshit, reset my nervous system, love myself, and stay in my power, and actually be more powerful and more potent than I've ever been. So, yeah, the power of the breath. And then the final lesson is very, very simple. Magic is real. The amount of magic I experienced in 2024 blows my fucking mind wide open. Money magic, relationship magic, manifestation magic, literally magic with the earth, like going and diving down underwater in the ocean and like accessing portals that can take me to Egypt, like things like that, literally all the time. And honestly, I've been able to activate and access things here like that in Michigan, which is very, very exciting because my greatest fear was like, oh my God, there's no magic here. Where's the magic? And I was like, oh wait, I'm the magic. Duh. So magic is real. So maybe you can make a list of all the magic you experienced in this life. And this is like when miracles happened. So those are my key lessons of 2024. There are 8 of them. Now, I'm going to transition into my predictions for 2025. So, 2024 was the reckoning. 2024 was down to the studs. 2024, and let me know, like, you can email me, you can message me on Instagram. Um, Let me know, was 2024 the reckoning for you? Like, was your life, destroyed or rearranged, or like were a lot of things being cleared out of your life? Like 2024 was massive, massive, massive transformation and intensity. And 2025 is a continuation of that, but with this new beginning energy. Basically, 2024 was wrapping up a whole era, and I've taught on the astrology of this. Spoiler alert, I am going to be doing a 2025 New Earth astrology guide. And if you want to just get it right now, I'll put the link to it in the show notes, but I'm going to be creating a whole audio series um that you can get where I'm going to be teaching the astrology of every month. Like I'm so excited. And 2025 is really this new beginning as we advance the transformations that happened in 2024. So we really are getting a new beginning and it's a new era. So here are my predictions for 2025, and these are just energetic predictions. I'm not going to go super into the astrology right now because I'm going to be doing that in the astrology guide. So if you want to get that, the early bird is 155. So go to the link in the show notes, get that right now. That's going to come out on the new moon in Capricorn. Here's what I'm feeling overall. I have 5 predictions. So I'm really seeing there's going to be a major shift from Zoom to in person. So the past 4 years, we've gotten really good at Zoom out of necessity, right? In 2020, we were forced onto Zoom. It was very Aquarian, right? And, all of the authority and systems were like forcing us to stay home and wanting to control and all of these things. And then what actually happened was instead of having more control and limitation on people, it opened up the freedom because it's like we have the freedom to work from anywhere. We have the freedom to connect with clients from anywhere, right? So I have clients and people in this community from all over the world. Germany, America, the Philippines, Australia, okay? Switzerland, like London. I mean, it's crazy. It's really, really cool. And we are going to, so the shift is going to be the importance of in-person experiences, which is why, first of all, I'm being called to different land all over the world in 2025. And I'm going to be doing in-person stuff wherever I go. I'm leading my in-person, so I'm doing Sedona in March, my in-person immersion there because the cellular activation that we receive when we're together, when we're in person, when we're on specific land is really, really powerful for New Earth, really, really powerful for your dreams, for everybody's dreams, for activating your spiritual gifts, and really tapping into this unity consciousness. So, what I see happening is yes, we're still going to do Zoom. Yes, we're still going to be on these, the way we're connecting right here is very Aquarian. We're still going to be doing all of this, but it's more going to be like supplement. I don't want to say supplemental, but it really feels like this has been the main way people connect for the past 4 years. And we're going to transition to more like 50-50 or even a little bit more of in person. And then what I see is like in person is like the meat and potatoes. And then the online is like the glue that holds us together when we are not able to be in person with one another. So literally everything I offer in my business is going to have an in-person element if people want it. So one-on-one mentorship, you can add in person. Okay. Obviously the in-person immersion in Sedona. Um, I'm offering in-person VIP dream days all over the world. When I'm traveling, as soon as I know where I'm going, I'm going to be sharing like, hey, I'm going to be here. Who wants to meet me here for a dream day? The This is going to be really, really important. On Zoom, we're missing that human element connection point. And as we advance in the age of Aquarius, we really need to stay tapped into like, yeah, we're like very galactic. We're all star seeds, we're star beings, and we're here as humans. And it's important to connect as humans, and it's important to hug, and it's important to do breath work together in person. Like all of that is very, very important. So that's one of my predictions. And so I really encourage you, and I went into this in my episode, Buy the Ticket. Prioritize in-person stuff, whether it's in-person stuff with friends, whether it's in person, like, oh, I'm going to make sure like I join a yoga studio. I recently recommitted to my yoga practice in person, and it's been such a gift. And yeah, there's going to be a major shift in focus of like everybody focusing all on Zoom and virtual stuff to like in person. And because a lot of our us like magical folk are dispersed around the world, like you might need to travel more to be with the people that are correct for you. And that's great. Say yes to the adventure. Say yes to the adventure. Okay, my second prediction, and this is based on the energy. Go listen to my podcast episode called 2020 2.0 is coming. We are going to see in spring-ish of 2025 chaos, volatility, revolution, and instability in the collective. So it's written in the stars, and I was noticing and sensing the energy in the fall, similar to 2019. In 2019, I knew something big was coming. In 2020, I didn't know what it was, and that's when I started making moves behind the scene, like setting up my website, like getting a business loan, like getting a photo shoot, doing all these things. I didn't know like, hey, COVID's coming, but I knew, oh, I'm supposed to do this now. I'm supposed to get set up now. Something like that is coming in spring 2025. And so there's going to be chaos, there's going to be revolution, and there's going to be instability in the collective. So, what I want you to do with this information is make moves in preparation, not out of fear. I'm not sharing any of these things to scare you. It's all about being prepared. Astrology is like, hey, I want to look at the weather because I want to know if I need like a coat or a hat or boots. Um, and if you're me, you probably want to make it like super fashionable. So you want extra time so you can go to your favorite store to get the coat and the hat. Um, but it's just about preparation. Luck is when preparation and opportunity meet, right? So we will see more volatility in the collective. We will see more chaos. We're going to see revolution. It's the same astrology as the Haitian Revolution, as the French Revolution, and the American Revolution. We're already seeing leadership in the world changing. Pluto in Aquarius is the sacred rebel. So, people's uprising, more protests, more like, okay, this is actually morally wrong, and we're going to stand as a collective because this is wrong. So it's power to the people, right? We are going to see a lot of that in 2025. My third prediction for 2025, and this is coming through my own experience, but then also I think it's for a lot of people that are here for New Earth. If you're listening to this episode, you're here for New Earth. Congratulations. New Earth is us birthing a world we're proud of. It's bringing back the ancient codes. It is, and you have something really important to create for New Earth. Um, you don't need to be a global leader. You could be a leader in your community. You can be a leader in your family. You're a leader of yourself. You're a creator. You're an artist of life. You're here to tap into your magic. You're here to really, really live and be the powerful divine creator that you are. There's going to be a lot of global repositioning. Okay. Something that I've noticed about my path is I tend to do stuff 6 months to a year before the collective and before like the clients I serve are doing it, right? I think that's just part of my mission and my path. I've been repositioned, right? I've been repositioned on the globe. Like literally, I don't think I could have stayed on Maui no matter what I did. Like I was being funneled off the island because I'm meant to do so much more. There are other lands calling to me where I'm supposed to be activated. There are different people I'm supposed to meet in person. Um, I'm supposed to serve in different ways all around the world. What I really encourage you, I think you're going to be called into some global repositioning. So you might not be doing like a nomadic existence like me. You might be like, I feel really, really called to go on a long vacation here, and I don't fully understand why. Trust it. Do it. There's I wrote down follow the ley lines and grid messages. So there are certain grids in the earth. There are certain ley lines in the earth that are going to call to you and they're going to activate different cells in your body. Okay, this is why I'm doing my Sedona immersion because I know my body's being called there and I know so I became a shaman in this lifetime. I went through my shaman initiation in Sedona. Okay. I'm meant to go back to Sedona right before I go on this grand adventure. Okay. The people that are meant to be at the immersion, they're meant to receive the cellular activation too. And so we're going to do it with the land and the grid lines there. But I was like getting this really strong call and I kept having visions like of me in Sedona and me with my teacher and my shaman Bethany in Sedona and me leading breath work on the Red Rocks in Sedona. And I'm like, okay, I'm being called, like the land is calling to me. So there's going to be global repositioning of all the new earth light workers, light leaders, which is you in 2025. So follow the ley line and grid messages. If you're getting called, go buy the ticket. This again, this is like, okay, we're going to be seeing a shift from Zoom to in person. Go, go. Obviously, I think having both is an amazing, amazing mix. I'm really choosing if I had to choose, I'm not going to be choosing because obviously I'm going to keep doing this work and serving my clients and having my own healers remotely, but in person is such a huge priority for me this year. And it should be for you too. And with this global repositioning, like you will go on these trips, and this is what Sedona is designed for as well. And what my dream days are designed for is like you go on these trips and you literally change like your identity changes, your cells change. And you literally get on the plane and you go back to your house and you look in the mirror and you're like, who am I? And it's like you're a deeper, truer, more advanced version of yourself. So trust the global repositioning. Okay, the fourth prediction for 2025, those who prepare your mind, your body, and your systems. So, body is your nervous system. You must be preparing your nervous system for a deeper wattage of uncertainty. There's going to be way more uncertainty in 2025. You can guarantee it, okay? And again, that's not to scare you, that's to prepare you. If you are doing breath work consistently, you will be fine. You will be unfuckwithable, okay? You will be able to feel safe no matter what. You will be able to hold this bandwidth no matter what. Um, and your systems meaning structure, calendar. Do you have the system set up in your business? Do you have the habits? Do you have the masculine moves that you're making each day to advance your dreams, to advance your, honestly, you've really got to figure out your money. We are going to need resources in 2025. I mean, we always do. We are going to need to be standing sovereign in our resources in 2025. So, the people who prepare in these ways, your body and your systems, you are going to thrive and you will be called to serve the collective. Okay? You're going to be called to a deeper level of service. And it's not like it's not already happening, but very specifically, I can't stress this enough, after April 2025. You will learn more when you get the New Earth Astrology Guide. So definitely get it on early bird. Get it today. You are going to be called into a deeper level of service of sharing your gifts in 2025. And the people that are preparing now, you will thrive. If you don't prepare now, you're going to get caught on your heels. You're going to get knocked on your ass. You're not going to be able to serve because you're going to be in this mania energy of like scrambling, trying to figure things out. Do not let that be you. This is the power of astrology. Astrology is so practical. Do the deep nervous system work now and do it consistently. Get your systems in line now. Get your habits in line now. So come spring, you're ready to rock and roll, baby. You can serve, you can share your gifts and whatever that means for you. Okay. Number 5 prediction for Pluto and Aquarius, AI is going to advance at a rapid clip. And there's going to be more ancient technology. I like to, and when people say AI, I'm like, which one, the human one or the ancient intelligence? The ancient intelligence is what we're doing here. Just with New Earth, we're bringing back the ancient codes. So, your breath and your third eye to create way more stuff in the crown chakra, way more stuff in the ethereal realm, way more stuff in the stars, bringing it down through your third eye and making it manifest through your breath. I'm already refining my technology because I'm refining it so I can teach more people how to use it during 2025 during Pluto and Aquarius. It's going to be a lot more quantum creation and there's going to be AI being used for darkness and then there's going to be AI being used for light. And so just full disclosure, computers, social media, like structures controlling the information and the news, all of that's going to get way more heightened. So, accessing your intuition is going to be way more important. Practice sending telepathic messages with your friends, with your fellow soul pad. If any of this you're like, wow, like I want to master this, I want to work with you on this, message or apply for one-on-one mentorship in the show notes. You can also I'm doing breathwork packages again in 2025 because of Pluto and Aquarius, because the amount of power that you will be required to steward is going to be immense and it will be accessed through your breath. So apply for one-on-one mentorship. We can explore what's correct for you, whether it's the full mentorship or just the breath work. But these are the predictions for 2025. So there you have it, my friends. My key lessons of 2024, my predictions for 2025. I would love, love, love to hear from you. Which lesson stuck out to you the most? Which resonated with you? Please let me know. Always email me, always message me on Instagram. That's really the only social media I use. Facebook, I'm not on for so many reasons. And then my predictions for 2025. For the predictions, I want you to really get keyed into which one did you feel in your body the most and how are you going to use that information to prepare yourself? Because the one you felt in the body the most is the one that you must explore and prepare for in advance the most because it's more important for you. So, yay, what a great episode. Now, if you want to go deep into learning the astrology of 2025, if you want to be prepared, if you want to know every single month, this is what's going on in the zodiac, I am doing the 2025 New Earth Astrology Guide. I've never done one of these before. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to channel a reading for every single month of the year. And so what you're going to do is you're going to purchase it now. And on the new moon in Capricorn, all of the readings are going to drop. So it's going to be like, I'm going to do an overview of the year, and then it's going to be like January, February, March. And the intention is you're going to be able to use this as a resource all year long. And I'm like so excited. Like the amount of notes and nerding out and study I've done already. Because honestly, I would be doing this anyways in my own study. And I was like, people need this. Like, people want this. I want you to just feel so prepared and learn about everything. So you aren't caught on your heels. So the link to that is in the show notes. It's on early bird for 155 until December 23rd. And also when you purchase it in early bird, you will get a bonus solstice meditation. So that, the link to sign up to get it, all of that is in the show notes. So make sure you grab it today. And if you are interested in going deeper with me in 2025, apply for one-on-one mentorship or apply for the Sedona immersions. Like those are the ways you can really, really go deep with me in person, where you can really, really go deep with me one-on-one. So honestly, I highly recommend all of them. The first step I would say is get the New Earth Astrology Guide. Get that. And like, if you know, hey, I'm seeking high touch mentorship, fill out the applications for the others. And like when you become my one-on-one client, you get the astrology guide. So, throwing that out there. All right, links to everything are in the show notes. I love you so much. Thank you for such an amazing year. We're gonna have a couple more podcasts come out before 2025 arrives, but it's just important to really create the space for these reflections because if you never do the reflecting, you never receive the lessons and you never get to integrate them. And then you just keep repeating the same lessons over and over. And also, if you never study what's coming, then you're always caught on your heels. So that's what today is. And all of the like this times a million is going to be in the New Earth Astrology, the 2025 astrology guide. And by the way, it's not like one of those like, oh, I'm going to buy my 2025 horoscope. Like it's not like that. It's me sitting down and doing a reading and doing it all through the lens of New Earth and your creation and your dreams. It's very, very different. It's a different frequency. So I'm excited. Tell all your friends. I can't wait to share it with the world. I can't wait to share it with you. So I love you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Be the change, be the light, go make a stranger smile. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.